Maybe you heard a story this summer about the host of a Dutch TV show. The show was called The Netherlands' Worst Driver. And the true story goes like this. The host got hit by one of the bad drivers. I mean, actually, a car that was driven by one of the bad drivers on the TV show actually slammed into the host. If I look a little bit nervous, well, it's because I host a show called Canada's Worst Driver. Canada's Worst Driver nominee, Tab, has handled a wide variety of vehicles since arriving in rehab. And behind the wheel during most of them, she's been a nervous wreck. At home in Calgary, whenever Tab drives, she's extremely nervous. In fact, she gets so nervous, she prefers it when her 16-year-old son drives her. Tab's profound fear is the reason her boyfriend Matt nominated her as Canada's lousiest license holder.
Her hands shake, she hyperventilates, she can't focus on the road.
At the Driver Rehabilitation Center, our experts, Peter Mellor and Philippe Letourneau, have been giving Tab lessons that are sometimes intense.
No.
We hoped that learning these skills would alleviate Tab's nervousness. But it hasn't really worked out that way.
I can't do it! I give up! I can't do it. I can't do it. I just can't.
I really wish you would go and talk to the psychologist.
About what?
About this. Because this is psychological. This isn't ability. This is you not believing you're capable. And you need to see and speak to someone about it.
Shamala Kiru is the therapist on our staff, and she began talking to Tab over an hour ago.
It's like I'm seeing two different people.
Their discussion focuses on positive visualization and deep breathing techniques that Tab will have to master quickly if she's going to pass our next driving challenge, because I'm talking about driving a snow plow. Driving a snow plow is something that every single Canadian with a full-blown license can legally do. And it is the next challenge for Canada's worst drivers. Drivers of this Dodge Ram pickup truck cannot see the plow. What I see is my own fluttering Canadian flags. To pass this challenge, drivers must be going 20 kilometers an hour at these maple leafs, and they must not hit anything. All right, let's do this. That's 5. What is that, 10? The key to safe snowplowing is looking far down the road instead of at the obstacles. Yeesh! Oh, that's not as hard as it looks. Wow. Keeping calm is another key to passing this very short challenge. Now, Let's see if Canada's worst drivers can plow snow that's made of wood. Nervous Tab is up first. To pass this challenge, drivers have 30 minutes to take as many attempts as they need to get through cleanly. After 7 unsuccessful attempts, Tab is still calm, her speed is right, and she's looking where she wants to go.
Holy crap, I think you made it through.
Tab did make it through cleanly.
Awesome!
Oh, baby.
Tab's therapy session seems to have paid off.
I wasn't stressed at all. Today at all.
In Montreal, Afia was the opposite of a nervous driver when we met her.
Move, woman!
In fact, Afia aggressively drove around the city with no regard for traffic laws or general safety because
there are angels surrounding my car.
in rehab, Afia has been less than angelic while still driving devilishly.
And I don't want to talk.
Why not?
Afia.
You!
Now, Afia is having a session with our therapist, and she's admitting that being vulnerable scares her.
Taking responsibility is a risk.
On our snowplow course, Afia is hitting the parked cars. But instead of blaming us for her bad driving, and instead of yelling at us to make herself feel better,
I think I hit something.
Afia is finally taking responsibility.
It's a bit late in the game, but Afia is finally invested in this process.
When you came here, you told me that you were a good driver and that you weren't in denial.
Yeah. Well, I was, of course.
Thanks to rehab, Afia now knows that safe driving does not come from angels. Safe driving comes from looking where you want to go. And on her 17th attempt, Afia plows her way to the end without hitting anything. You're finally glad you're in rehab, aren't you?
Yeah, actually, I am. I won't lie.
Afia is finally changing.
I'm really happy I'm learning. I am.
When we come back, the rest of Canada's worst drivers go through our snowplow challenge.
Start looking and it doesn't work.
At home in Lethbridge, Alberta, professional delivery man Sly has a difficult time knowing if and when he's contacted another car.
Whoa. That hits anything?
In our rehabilitation center, Sly is now contacting cars in our snowplow challenge.
Am I hitting something?
Are you hitting something? Is that what you're asking me?
Well, I don't know.
You don't know if you're hitting something?
Sly is definitely hitting something and some other things.
but he is totally unaware.
Hit a bunch of vehicles.
I did?
You have no idea if you hit something or not?
No, I mean, how are you supposed to know?
Well, you hear the grinding, crashing metal sound and you see the motion of the thing that you hit.
Oh.
Even though we are constantly telling Sly to look where he wants to go.
Oh my gosh.
Sly forgets to look where he wants to go.
Whoa, whoa. Holy cow.
And this happens in practically every challenge.
It's starting to get frustrating.
Yeah. Hit the green car. You got that van that time.
This is one of those things to look where you want to go.
Of course.
Okay.
All of them are look where you want to go.
Okay, well then in that case...
When Sly finally remembers to look far, far ahead,
we can do this.
He goes faster than he's supposed to, but he makes it through the course cleanly. Even though he succeeded, Sly may have missed the point.
The faster you go, the easier it is to steer.
Oh, you're killing me. That's what you learned from that?
6 years ago in Calgary, Aaron was T-boned by a bad driver. The physical injuries that Aaron sustained
Palms are sweating.
have now made him a bad driver.
If Aaron wasn't my son and I was traveling behind him and that, I definitely would think that this guy in front should not be on the road.
Traveling on our snowplow course, Aaron knows he should look where he wants to go, but he's staring barely over the hood.
Did I hit it?
Yeah.
And that's not all he hits.
Oh, you hit that.
The only thing Aaron doesn't hit
You're hitting that.
is the speed minimum.
There's no way I'm getting it to 20.
There's no way that Aaron will ever pass this challenge if he doesn't start looking farther down the road.
Were you watching your side?
Yeah.
As soon as we get those drivers to do a slower challenge, you gotta notice that we'll have a tendency to look just in front of the hood.
Whatever speed you're doing, you've got to look far ahead.
When Aaron finally starts speeding up, he's just as dangerous.
Did I hit anything?
Yes, you did.
There is a 30-minute time limit for this challenge, and Aaron is looking like he'll be the first driver who won't be able to successfully navigate his way through.
29 minutes, 4 seconds.
On his last chance, Aaron can't pass the snowplow challenge.
You let the frustration get the best of you. Yeah.
I haven't got that under control yet.
From a small town in Cape Breton, Nova Scotia, Shirley has had a license for longer than some of the other worst driver nominees have been alive.
The horse and buggy was still on the road for a number of years after I got my driver license.
Times have certainly changed since Shirley started driving.
was just so easy to drive in the old days.
But Shirley's skill set has not been able to keep up.
You're speeding. Can't take my eyes off to look.
In rehab, when Shirley gets to the snowplow course, she seems out of her element.
Up to speed, up to speed. Oh, I hit something that time.
You're still hitting. You're hitting everything.
Oh. Do you know what happened?
No, I have no idea.
All too often in rehab,
Did I hit something?
Shirley wants her daughter, Janice,
Drive faster.
to think for her.
So what should I do?
Straight.
The ironic thing is, when Shirley thinks for herself,
Am I at 20? Yes.
she's constantly improving.
I got it. It's at 20. It's at 20. It's at 20. I did it.
Go over in there.
Success! Deserves a hug.
I did it at 20, darling.
When we come back,
Oh, you have committed an offense.
we'll learn what Canada's worst drivers know about rules of the road.
Is this a new law?
Then,
Where else are you going to see a little old lady from Cape Breton car curling?
we go car curling.
If you're in a town that has no one-way streets, and it's a Sunday when two cars come to a three-way intersection at exactly the same time before noon near a school zone, which one of them has the right-of-way? Well, it's the driver who's in the car to the right of the other driver. The next challenge for Canada's worst drivers is to take a test all about rules of the road.
And we'll start in Montreal, which has one law that's unique in all of North America.
You're in Montreal and you want to make a right turn. Got the red light here. Show me what you would do.
Stop, check for oncoming, and then go.
I would turn.
I could make my turn.
In the city of Montreal, it's illegal to make a turn to the right on the red.
In Toronto, can you pass a stopped streetcar with open doors?
It's not a bus, so could I just proceed, maybe?
No, you can't.
Continuing on, right?
Wrong.
Just keep going.
If you want to kill people,
You need to stop 2 meters behind the door.
everywhere in Canada, laws are the same about being on a traffic circle when
a police car comes screaming up behind you, sirens blaring, lights flashing. Show me what you'd do.
I would pull over.
It's illegal to pull over on a roundabout. What you should do is
continue off the roundabout to the exit you want and then pull over at the side.
Okay.
The same logic applies when you're being tailed by a cop on a bridge.
I would pull over.
No, you should
drive to the end of the bridge and veer right.
If you saw a vehicle with a flashing green light, what would you do?
I have no clue.
Well, first I'd
call my dad and ask what a flashing green light means.
I know it's not an emergency vehicle.
It is an emergency vehicle.
What the green light signifies is it's a volunteer fireman or volunteer medical person.
Okay.
When it comes to understanding road rules, the worst person in rehab.
Can I just wait now? I'm here.
Is Shirley, who scores
1 out of 10.
That's bad.
Just proves the point that people who have had a license for quite a long time should really keep up to date.
Yes.
This show is hardly the strangest thing to ever be popular on Canadian television. The strangest honor would have to go to curling. Curling, though, is kind of like car handling. You have to go really smoothly and make perfect turns. And believe it or not, handling curling is the next challenge for cars.
Car curling is a game we made up ourselves. In this sport, drivers will push one of these rocks all the way to this hog line where they must stop shooting the rock towards this house. Closest to the bullseye wins. The vehicle for this challenge is a Buick Skylark that has a bent metal cradle on the front grille. All right, car curling. The point of this challenge is to see if Canada's worst drivers can look where they want to go while smoothly accelerating before suddenly braking. And it will test their steering. Oh, this is an excellent steering challenge, actually. And then pause right here and let her drift. Go, 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 go. Ooh, I got an out-turn curl instead of an in-turn. That miss was enough of an education for me to learn how fast I need to go to get the rock into the house. And on my second attempt, and brake, my weight feels good, and the rock is only slightly off-center. Curl! Curl! Hurry! Hurry hard! Hurry! Yes! Whoever gets their rock closest to the middle will be the winner. Shirley takes off like a snail.
You'll never ever even get it close at this speed.
Okay.
At this speed,
Hit the gas, hit the gas, hit the gas.
it takes Shirley over a minute just to reach the hog line.
You're not going to be able to do it.
When she lines up again,
I don't even know what to do.
Shirley is just as slow as before. And at this pitiful speed, Shirley loses control. In total, Shirley tries 8 times, but only manages to get 2 rocks as far as the hog line. Shirley feels the agony of defeat.
I realized near the end that that slow speed wasn't doing me any good.
Sly is up next.
Come on. This way. Oh, freak.
To keep the rock pinned on the bumper,
Oh, well, there goes one.
Drivers have to slowly and steadily accelerate.
Gotta go faster.
Come on. Oh, but Sly can't figure it out.
No rocket science, right?
When Sly does go faster...
Whoops.
He loses total control of everything.
You know, maybe I am really the worst driver in the whole country.
Sly would be better if he would just look where he wants to go.
You know, I think that's an analogy for life. Look where you want to go. Look where you want to go. My gosh. One of those things that the Dalai Lama would probably say.
Maybe Afia can succeed at this challenge. But Afia takes off like a bat out of hell, and by the time she reaches the hog line, she is flying.
Break!
And when she tries again, she goes even faster. Afia's aim is almost always good.
Break!
But on every single run,
She's just a speed freak.
Afia's speed is excessive.
Break!
It didn't go well.
Afia is sliding back into denial.
Even if I fail, I don't feel as a failure.
Maybe Aaron can score some overdue points. On Aaron's first try, though, he looks as timid as Shirley. Lee has some good advice.
Give it a try, go fast.
But Aaron can't even get started.
You're starting on a bit of an angle every time.
Aaron's angled takeoff is certainly a problem. But there's an even bigger problem at play. Aaron is looking at the rock instead of where he wants to go.
Stop, stop, stop.
After 8 rocks,
Unreal game.
Aaron fails to even see the point of this challenge.
I don't get how this applies to driving at all.
Will Tab be the only person who scores? On her first attempt, Tab looks where she wants to go, she accelerates smoothly, and she thinks she's messed up.
Oops.
But she hasn't messed up at all.
I can learn trial and error.
Tab needs to learn that just because she lacks confidence,
it's still going,
doesn't mean there's been an error.
That's it. I got one in.
Tab has won the world's first ever game of car curling.
That's right. That's how Tab does it.
When we come back, Canada's worst drivers learn how to swerve on a dry road.
here's where your lights were. Oh. Every year on the island of Newfoundland alone, about 700 moose are hit by cars. Here at the Driver Rehabilitation Center, we have about 17 foam moose that can be hit by cars. Now, avoiding a real moose on a real Canadian highway involves moving to Brazil. No, I'm kidding. It involves taking your foot off the gas pedal, then swerving around the moose, then getting the vehicle back into balance, and then braking. And it's a technique that's about to be taught to Canada's worst drivers by Philippe Letourneau.
Ready for more training? Training will be very important, especially for you.
This swerve training is important for Shirley because...
When I was taught to drive, my dad told me you never swerve for an animal. So, I never swerved for them. And there was some family pets and some other people's precious dogs that ended up getting killed.
Philippe will now demonstrate how to not kill an animal.
And we're driving, we're chatting, Sunday afternoon. Whoa, a deer. I let go the gas, swerve, stabilize, and then brake.
Okay. Let go of the gas, swerve, stabilize, and brake.
And of course, look where you want to go.
Where were you looking? I could see you were trying to make sure you were not going to hit anything.
Right.
That shows me that you're looking at object instead of the space.
When Shirley looks at the open space, she succeeds.
Brake. Why are you looking at me? The road is there.
But I did it.
Afia doesn't do it because she lets go of the wheel.
You've actually let go the wheel?
It's true.
Yeah, 9 and 3. You have enough steering input, okay?
9 and 3 means here and here. Gripping the wheel at 9 and 3 allows drivers to make any sudden swerve they'll ever need to make.
Avoid. Brake.
It makes a difference. It's true. It's like magic.
The Swerve and Avoid Challenge is to rumble down this laneway at 70 km an hour. Then, when drivers reach this area, an unsuspecting moose will wander onto the road. The drivers will then have to steer safely to the open lane. And this exciting challenge will be done in our freshly painted Dodge Challenger.
This did happen to me once in Newfoundland, and I just barely got away with my life. So, let's see what happens to me today. 20, 30, 40. Man, this car goes fast. 50, 60, and that's 70. Now I'm going, and man, no moose. There it is. Whoa. Oh, I did the little sideways thing. Did you see that?
Watch that again. In the moment of truth, I did my swerve, but instincts took over, and I went for the brake. Freeze. See the brake lights come on? When I felt the car skidding sideways, I released the brake, which stopped the skid and allowed me to regain control.
Now let's see how Canada's worst drivers do. Man, am I allowed to come that close?
Nervous Tab is struggling to stay calm. When she goes, Tab forgets to pay attention to her speed and she goes over 80 an hour. And she brakes too soon, which means she can't steer properly.
Why are you panicking?
Oh.
You okay?
Yeah.
She doesn't seem okay. And neither does the car.
That's the bumper of the car you've been driving. I can rip this off, which I'm going to do.
Oh my good Lord.
There, that's for you.
When Tab goes this time, she speeds again. And she hits the brake again, which makes her clip the mountain.
Did it again! Ah!
It's okay.
It's not okay!
The car is not okay.
Oh no! Andrew! Oh no! Seriously?
Here, Matt, you can have one too.
This time, Tab goes exactly 70. And when the moose pops out,
yes!
Tab swerves safely.
No moose were hurt in the making of this movie.
When we come back, the rest of Canada's worst drivers go through our evasive challenge. Canada's worst drivers
Swerve. Avoid. Brake.
have learned how to swerve around an unsuspected object.
Swerve. Avoid. And brake.
Sweet.
Aaron will now do our Avoid the Moose challenge. Coming down the laneway, Aaron gets up to 70 kilometers an hour, just like we asked. And when the moose pops out, he looks where he wants to go, and his steering is... perfect! Woo! Aaron is walking on air.
I even jumped. I haven't jumped in a long time.
Shirley has killed several animals due to not swerving.
What animals did you kill?
3 ducks. One was my husband's best friend's champ beagle duck.
And?
A little tiny duck.
And?
A nice big collie.
All right, you collie killer, you beagle bandit, you small dog squasher, you. Go whenever you're ready.
On her first attempt, when the moose pops out, Shirley swerves too soon. On her second attempt, Shirley again swerves too soon, hitting a lane marker.
Brake. Keep hitting that thing.
On her third attempt, Shirley goes exactly 70 an hour and
I did it, 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 Janice. I did it!
Success! Deserves a hug.
I am learning so much.
Afia thinks she'll be the next graduate. But she has habits like speeding and staring at objects she wants to avoid.
Sure enough, look at the moose, steer towards the moose.
That woman thinks she should graduate. On her second run, Afia hits a lane marker. On her final attempt, will Afia release the gas, swerve, stabilize the car, and then brake?
It's even worse.
Graduation for Afia seems highly unlikely.
I don't think I'm going home this episode.
Sly thinks he'll pass this challenge.
People will be talking about this for ever and ever. I'll be discussing it on blogs, Facebook.
Yeah. Sly aced high-speed challenge.
70k an hour, don't hit the moose.
You ready?
Yeah, go. 70. Get there.
Sly gets to 70 very fast. And then he goes faster. A lot faster.
Freak. Oh, you know what I did?
Yeah, I do.
I put my foot on the brake.
Let's break down everything Sly did. He locked up the brake. He went way too fast. And he stared only at the mountain.
You couldn't have done that any worse.
This challenge is done. And Sly should consider staying done.
Okay. Would you like some antlers for your wall? Maybe these could go in the den. Right underneath a slogan that says, "This is the day I quit driving."
When we come back, the experts decide who will graduate this episode. Now, our experts and I will chat with the bad drivers so we can decide who should graduate this episode. And Tab will go first.
Snowplow.
Oh, yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, and look at that. Look at that. Hey, you see that? Snowplow, that was fun. What would
Tab on day one of rehab have said if I'd said, now it's time to drive a snowplow?
I would ask you if you were nuts.
So it sounds like you focused where you needed to focus.
I looked straight ahead. I looked to where I wanted to go.
Confidence has gone up? Yeah.
Have you gotten what you came to get out of rehab?
I've gotten information, yes, definitely, and techniques.
Are you ready to graduate?
I am ready to graduate.
Shirley also feels ready to graduate.
Well, this is my third year on the show. I've never seen such a transformation in somebody.
I am so happy. That's why this emotion, this is not a sad emotion. I'm actually feeling, I just feel so good, and I think I needed this confidence boost at this age. Even about my life in general, it has given me such confidence that, like I said to Janice, I will drive to Halifax.
Yeah, I'm hearing the word confidence quite a bit.
I can't even explain my confidence level.
Afia's overconfidence may have finally been corrected.
I didn't know how bad of a driver I was until I came here.
How did you not know you were a bad driver?
I was unlucky. That's what I thought. Just I was at the wrong place at the wrong time, and it caused an accident.
Dozens of times you were at the wrong place in the wrong time.
Yeah.
When I think back to the audition tape, the footage that we saw of you in Montreal, it's absolutely shocking. And the Afia that I met with yesterday was completely different.
Do you want to graduate today?
I'm not ready to graduate today.
Aaron also feels not ready to graduate.
All right, well, I'll take the drama out of our graduation speech then. You can stick around if you want to.
Sweet. Thank you.
And Sly, well, Sly may never graduate.
Hey, I'm a bit of an enigma, you know. I teach me and stuff, and it seems like I get it, but, you know, in actual practice, I seem like I struggle.
You seem to gain ground, and then tomorrow maybe you resort back to the way you were yesterday.
Yeah, and a little bit.
Shirley and Tab are the only possible graduates for this episode.
Afia, to me, no way. Aaron said that he wanted to stay, and I promised him that he could, and Sly just shouldn't graduate.
I think Tab's ready. The key today was the evasive maneuver, and Tab did that.
And she did our snowplow challenge better than anyone.
She would have been scared to even be in that truck before.
Yes.
She stayed composed, and that's been her biggest problem. She handled the truck well. I think she's truly ready.
I would disagree with you, Cam. I'd still have issue with Tab driving a bit too fast. Just for me, if I would be on public road right now, I would prefer to be around Shirley than Tab, to be super honest with you.
Shamala also thinks Shirley should graduate.
Absolutely. I think she's the most improved. She displayed a lot of confidence when she spoke with us today. And I think Tab still has some work to do.
Peter believes Tab's work is done.
She's overcome a lot of the shakiness, and her performance was a little more direct than Shirley's. I think the confidence level is just slightly better, and consequently the skill level is just slightly better. They're close, but I'd rather get Tab graduated now.
Tab?
Shirley.
Shirley.
Tab.
Wow. Why y'all looking at me?
It's up to me to pick one person from our short list of potential graduates.
And the two people on that short list were Tab and Shirley. Tab, you still drive a little bit too fast, and Shirley, you still drive a little bit too inconsistently. So, whose license do I have?
I hope it's mine.
Well, Tab? Today's graduate is you.
Congratulations. Well done. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Before coming to rehab, Tab was the most nervous driver we had ever met.
Oh no, there's somebody behind me.
And even though Tab often became too nervous to drive,
I don't want to drive no more.
she didn't even realize that her nervousness was the cause of her problems.
Though some of the streets in Calgary are stupid. Some of the roads in Calgary are stupid.
What about the drivers?
Stupid. They're the bad drivers, not me.
In rehab, a combination of therapy and driving lessons truly transforms Tab.
How I feel now is I go at it and I look at it and say, you know what? I can do this.
Tab can do it, and that will change her family's life forever.
Mom's not scared anymore. It's okay.
No more shaking on the roads. No more being scared out there. You own it now. Yes! Congratulations, Tab. We're down to the nitty-gritty now. At the end of our next episode, I'll be naming the finalists for Canada's worst driver.
On the next episode of the country's most dangerous television show, we use extremely tight spaces to see who can handle a small car.
Ugh, I hate this.
And a large truck. Then, when we learn who can wrap their head around doing donuts, we name the finalists for Canada's worst driver. Brake, 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 brake!
Are you gonna stop?
That's how Tab does it.